everyone, welcome to the stream. Today I'm going to dig into backing up my printer configuration files. We're going to see how we can take these basically machine-specific critical pieces and build a mechanism to not only back them up, but give us an option to basically click a button, a macro, for instance, and back up our files to the internet or to GitHub. Okay, I was just thinking, making sure everything was working, because, you know, last time I didn't have any audio. Hey, Robbie. Hey, DJ Natty. Welcome to the stream. So I've actually gone and got this set up and configured and working on a number of my printers. I've experimented a little. There's the printers that it's where yeah, I do have audio this time. Yeah. I wasn't quick enough to pick it up in the chat last time either, but that's on me. So the plan here today is to go through the configuration I have, which is a very basic configuration on a printer that has nothing special on it. By special, I mean there's been no addition to the extras folder, which seems to be the big thing here. When you have additions to the extra folder, it changes things a little. And we're going to figure out how to deal with that. We're going to figure out what to do to create a macro, so we can just basically put a button on the screen to back up everything. And we're going to go through that whole process. Did I see the new revision to the Dark Dog? He released an alpha yesterday. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it specifically, but I'm guessing it has the new side pieces and the full skirt, as well as the plug on the side. And I'm gonna guess he went with, instead of what I did with the power supply of moving it out and tucking the other one in, he went with it mounted the other way. Or sorry, yeah, mounted the other way. I believe. That would be my guess from what I've seen in chat. But I don't know for sure. I'm just totally guessing there. Maybe we'll take a look. Well, after this is going. So, you know, on other fronts, you know, things of interest. This clicky, it's been working great. I have swapped the power to run directly off the 5-volt power supply, because what I found was when the bed and the heater and everything was going, the servo became really sloppy. Like, I mean really sloppy, unusably sloppy. Let's go with that. So I've got it working really well. The deck is not printable? Oh, that's too bad. What I need to do to this is make it so that it's the right size. I don't need to do anything to this. This is done. This is done. I'm just going to admit it. It's only a DFX file. That's fine. You know, you can easily import that into some type of software and just make it into a plane and extend it up and then cut it into chunks wherever you want. So that's not a huge deal, but it's too bad it's not done already. but I guess there's probably some connection point issues and things like that. This thing has been great, like I said. I'm going to pull up the printer itself. I've customized the home. It works really quick. I guess I did that on stream, but it just slams that thing on there. When it's hooked up to a direct 5 volt to the power supply, it works great. I've replaced the servo with a metal one, just to, you know, longevity, really. I've also got the metal one ready for the installation on the LDO switch wire. But that's working great. You got yours yesterday? Me too. They arrived at about 5 o'clock. This huge thing, like this thing's big. This is not little. Was printed on this overnight, not last night, the night before. That's not multicolor print. That is Sharpie, which in this case I figured was good enough. It looks awesome. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. This has been an ongoing thing. That's one of the reasons this printer is so tall, was so that I could print that. That is going to be the base for a lamp, or maybe a set of lamps. I keep on changing my mind, but I think at this point I've reached the keep it simple stupid point, where I'm basically going to buy 2 lamp kits. I'm going to print those in red with white trim, with using the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder to that size, and basically set it up so I can install like a red lampshade. These will be red with white writing, and white trim around the outside. And that's going to be one of the projects I'm going to do, is basically create my Nuka-Cola lamps. Light blue ABS arrived today. Yeah, I've got to start printing my stuff. My Trident and my 2.4 have been sitting idle for way too long. So yeah. Okay, so let's dive into backing up our stuff. Actually, let's take a look and see it in action first. I'm going to switch over to desktop here, and we'll dive in, and we'll see what we can do here. So. This is not what we're looking at. This is just the switch wire orange. What I want is, let's try to go to Trident. And if Trident's sitting in the right place in the room right now, I may be able to get to mainsail. I'm gonna have to move it to a different place in the room. Or maybe just turn it a bit. This is literally the way Trident is. I have to move it. It shouldn't be here. Come on. Okay, so we're going to go to 2.4, and we're going to take a look at what we've done here before I go through it step by step on the other printers. What I've got here is a button that says GitHub backup. It's a macro, and let's clear this. Why can't I clear this? Why is there no clear button? Okay, whatever. There's a clear button on the other one. When I click the button, basically it does some stuff. And what it's doing is it's adding any new files. It's basically auditing the changes and then pushing everything up to GitHub. And if we look at what it did here from GitHub backup, we've got running the command backup to GitHub. This is one of the things we're going to do. We're going to add a script that'll allow us to run script files on the operating system from here. Then we've got the backup to Git. We're doing no such file or directory. Now, this is some step that we don't need. So it basically does some logging steps to the screen that we don't really need. It tells us what version of mainsail we're on, what version of Moonraker, and what version of Klipper. And then it basically connects and pushes our changes to the master from the origin, which is, yeah. Branches up to date, nothing to commit, because nothing's changed. Now, if I go in, and we go into printer, and I say, yeah, I want to clean this up. Yeah, I don't need all this stuff anymore. There's no reason for me to have anything relating to this being a config for everything. So let's say I went in and cleaned some of this up, and I save the file. Now, hey Duff, good afternoon. Now when I go in and I click GitHub backup and go to the console, what we're going to see is it is going to go through, and we're going to see add printer config, one file changed. There was 24 deletions in the file. And then it pushed that file up to GitHub. So now, when I go to GitHub, I can go to the Klipper backup v2. The backup of this serial number. I'm not sure if it can be used in Fluid. Can you use all the pie, like the Rage Rabbit carrot feeder stuff? Sorry, I should say what the question is. Robbie says, can the macro backup to GitHub be used on Fluid? So I'm not sure. I don't know how my feeling here is Fluid is like mainsail. It's just the UI. When it's reaching down, and the config files are the same, all that other stuff are the same. But again, you would, if you've used Fluid and mainsail, you would have a better idea of that. So we're in the repository right now, and if we look here, there was a change 2 minutes ago. I can click on the file and I can see its current state, or I can click on the change and I can see exactly what I took out. and you can see that there's the deletions. This is the current state, or sorry, the previous state here, and this is the current state of the file down here. And if I want to jump in and see all the stuff in between, and you know, I can. And keep going to the end of the file, but there's no need to do that usually when you're doing this. So this shows me a basic breakdown of what I just did. If I did it wrong, I can, oh, I shouldn't have taken this piece out. I can copy this out of here and just go paste it back in my config file. But I have basically an ongoing log of every change I make. So it's excellent for rolling back. You know, I had that configuration that worked on this 3 weeks ago. I was messing with stuff. What did it look like 3 weeks ago? Well, as long as you backed it up. If you didn't click that button, well, that's not going to happen. I guess you could add it to a startup script. You could add it to, so that every time you restart, like a delayed G code, every time you start the printer, it would automatically try to do the check-in. So there's multiple ways to do this. But I guess first what we need to go through is the initial configuration and what do we need to do to make this work on a printer. Because right now, I have it on the Trident, I have it on the V0, and I have it on the V2. I don't have it on any of the switch wires. So let's start with I hate to call it the Ender switch wire, and I'm going to stop that. It's not the Ender switch wire. Let's start with switch wire orange. And let's start right from the beginning. We'll go through the steps and we'll make this happen. So, first thing we need to do is we actually need to, well, if you don't have a GitHub account, go create a GitHub account. We're going to need our username, we're going to need our username, and we're going to need our email that we use to create it. And then we'll be at this point and we'll be able to go and create a new repository. So let's do that. First step, new repository. We're going to call it, in my case, Clicker. We're going to call it Clicker. Klipper backup. Switchwire orange. I don't have a serial number for this right now, so I can't give it, you know, the Klipper backup. Yeah, serial number. Insert serial number here. I can't do that. So there we go. Some description, README file, whatever. I'm not going to bother. License, yeah, whatever. Dig in, use them at your own risk. Destroy your printer if you want. But yeah, it's probably not best to be using other people's config files directly. It's great to go into them and find ideas if you've got, unless you're going to the base file without any extra stuff, but you never know what people do to their config files. You can go through the whole thing and check though. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the repository. And this will create a repository called Klipper backup _ switchwire orange. It's public. Anybody will be able to get to it. Ta-da! Here it is. And right now there is only a license, which is, who cares? Yeah, so now we got to start looking at the other tools that we need. The first one, I need to open PowerShell. So that's the first tool we want to look at. In PowerShell, we're basically going to just connect to our computer like we would if we were going to compile a new copy of Klipper for a controller board or anything like that. So we're just going to log in. In my case, switchwireorange.local. And here we are, we're logged in. Now, I'm going to guess that most installations of Mainsail already have Git installed. And I am going to share this document, by the way. I do have a document on the side with each step documented as to what I need to do. So now that I'm actually in, I'm going to install Git if it's not installed. And that's just a sudo apt-get install Git, and it's going to ask for the password. And it's already updated. Git is already the newest version. So let's change to the Klipper config folder. And again, I'm going to say I have all these steps documented. I don't know if I'll just stick the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the descriptions, which might be the best idea. And that way it's easily accessible to everybody. But I will do that. So we're changing to the Klipper config folder, and we're going to initialize a new local repository, which we're going to link up to the online repository. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. So that's just git init. And it reinitialized existing Git repository. What? In home pi Klipper. What? Okay. So the next thing we need to do is we need to identify ourselves. And in order to do that, now that this is configured, we need to basically add our username and our email address to the global configuration of Git. So I'm going to add my username, maker source, which is basically what you find in the repository path. And I'm also going to add my email address. You know what? It doesn't matter. I was gonna say I won't do that on screen, but it's my public email address anyway. And there we go. That is that configured. So now what we need to do is we need to add an origin. So add the origin so that we can say, or update this origin files to the repository online. Now, I'm not explaining this exactly correctly, but it's just to get the gist. We don't care what it's doing in the background. We just care that our files are getting from A to B, and anytime we click a button, we basically get a fresh copy, or it stores the changes online for us, because that's what we're concerned with. What's really going on and how Git's used as a software repository and change tracking and branching and all that other stuff, not of any concern to what we're doing here. So I'm not going into that. But what we need to do now is we need to go back to Git because we need a token. We need a way to log in to this repository and identify ourselves using a token. We need to generate a new token. So if we go to our little drop down in the top corner here and go to settings, we should find developer settings. And under developer settings, we're going to find personal access tokens. So we've got a number of tokens. It's not showing us the token. It never will show us the token after we generate it. It's a one-time, here's your token, take it now. When you come back to this page, we're not going to show it to you again. That's getting more common. So we're going to generate a new token. And it's going to ask me for my password. This is going to expire so tomorrow. And for my other one, I've set no expiry date. I don't really care. You know, the token's not going to get published. It's not out there. When I configure this and punch in this token for this one, I am going to clear the screen so you guys won't see my token. But basically, this is what you're doing. And I just gave the token. I don't even think it needs this, but whatever. It doesn't need anything else. Generate the token. And we get this number. This is our key. Now, right now, if people copy this key right this minute, somebody out there, if they're quick, they can start pushing stuff into this repository. Personal access token has been added to your account. So there we go. I have this copied. What we're going to do there we go, is we're going to initialize this repository that we created to use that token. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the path that comes up when I go to this repository, which is right here, https github.com/makersource/klipper-backup/switchwire-orange. And to the front of it, in between the HTTPS, I'm going to stick that token and an ampersand. So that token basically identifies me. I can give other tokens out to other people to identify them if they post here in a more wider context, but there's no reason for anybody else to be posting here. So back in here, copy, copy, copy. Oh, and like I said, I will put the information down once we're done and it's all fine-tuned. Why won't copy and paste work? You'd think copy and paste would work. There we go. You just have to do it 4 times. So basically what we're doing here is we're saying add the remote called origin which points to this repository using this token. So there's the token. Hey, Squirrel Brain. We've got the ampersand, so the token at github.com/makersource. And right now this says v0. We don't want that. We want this to say switchwire orange. Yeah, this isn't your isn't your standard 3D printer stream. But it's something that I'm thinking everybody wants to know. This is so easy to do. It's just drop in a couple of commands on the command line, and next thing you know, at a button click, you've got backups of all your config files. I wouldn't suggest this on a public printer. I would look for a different method to do it. Maybe with this script and does it on a reboot, because we are adding functionality here that allows script access from configuration files. So, secure your own stuff. This is basically what I'm saying there. So here we go. We've got Klipper backup, switchwire orange. Remote fatal. Okay, so I'm just gonna go git remote remove origin. I don't know why that's there. And now we'll punch that in again. Okay, so we're good. It knows what's going on. Now we're gonna go git add dot. Dot basically means this folder down. So any files in here that are in here right now, we're gonna back up. One sec. So we're going to back up any files in this folder down. So the folder structures, if we create any other folders in our configs, if we move our backups to a different folder, whatever, it'll all get in here. As we make changes from this point forward to any folders or subfolders here, it'll all be included under this repository. So now that we've done that, we're going to do our initial commit. So basically git commit -m. I'm not going to go through all those switches. Initial backup of switchwire. This is basically a comment we're going to attach to this. And when I do this, this is going to happen. There's something weird here. Okay, give me 1 second. I really wish copy and paste would work properly. That would make this a lot easier. Okay. Okay, let's do that commit again. So we're back here. Maybe I should have this like this. Easier to see. Oh, look at that. Make it easier to see yet. So here we go. We're gonna basically do that commit. It's gonna take all the files that it's found different from the last time, and basically get them ready to push to that destination that we defined here. Now, there's some weird things here, you know, that there's ways around them and stuff like that, but you'll see there's something we need to change in GitHub in a moment. And we will do that right after we push all these changes. So right now, that's all we're gonna do, if copy and paste would work. There we go. Git push origin to the master branch. That's the simple bottom line of it. This is a one-time thing. After this, all the command line stuff goes away and everything is basically just automated. I hit enter and off everything goes. And if I look in here, we'll see master had a recent push less than a minute ago. And I can go and I can change to the master branch. And here are all my config files. So quick, easy, dirty push config to GitHub. Now, you'll notice this doesn't include any other files. These are just my config files. If I want other files in here, we'll look at doing that in the next step, which is basically making this something that we can automate. So the first thing I want to do then let me see here if I can find the files. Tools. Okay, so I have a py file here called gcode shell command. Okay, we'll look at it. Basically, what it is, it's a file that allows me to define some properties in a almost like in a G-code section or a macro section, almost like a macro section in a config file that defines a command or a script at the operating system level that I can run. That's basically what it does at a very simple level. It doesn't do any, if you need privileges that you don't have, it doesn't do that. It doesn't allow you to run privileged escalated stuff and, you know, delete all the files of the operating system. You know, that is not something that this script is going to allow you to do. This is available online. I will include a link down below once I get with the instructions, basically. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to WinSCP into this printer. I'm going to move this file in to the extras folder. No. So basically, we just need to copy that once we log in through there, and now we have the gcode shell command. Now, the other thing we need to do is we need a script. We need a way to back up, to do this automatically for us, so we can say, when I click this button, or run this macro, go run this script. This is the script. We're going to take a look at that. I wonder where there's a better place to look at it. Open with, what can we open with? Look for more. I think, you'd think something that would be a programming tool would be great for opening a script file. But no, they're just, yeah. No. Okay, so we have a script file here. This we don't need. This is basically trying to pull the token from something. We don't need the token. What is going on? So it defines some folders here. Again, this is available through somebody's GitHub. It's a GPL license, so anybody can use it. I'm just basically reaching out and pulling other resources together to build this easy way to do this. This does some of the, you know, this is this version, etc. It really just draws stuff to the console. Yeah, just pull some version numbers. But the main thing is this right here, push config. Push config moves to the config folder, calls git pull, which basically says, okay, just in case anything on my side is on the other side has been changed by somebody else, I need to pull those changes down. It says then, okay, add everything. So everything here that's changed or different, add to the repository. It gets the current date. I wish there was a way to zoom in, but there's not. Why they don't, I don't know. It gets the current date, then it calls commit. And you know, none of this is needed. None of that's needed at all. Because we've already provided the key in the previous step. So we just need to say, go and update our source to this repository. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to switchwire orange to match the name of the repository we created for this printer. 1 second here. There's GitHub. Open another window. Okay. So now what are we going to do? We're going to take that file I'm going to save this. Basically has everything we need. Points to where we want it to point. Basically puts together the name of the file, giving the fluid version and everything if it can pull it out, based on what it pulls out here. And I'm going to take this and put it in the py folder. I think it's the py folder. Yeah, it goes in the py folder. And that's our backup file. That should handle moving anything from this version of Klipper into there, no matter what. If I change the key, I just need to replace the origin, and it should go and basically swap it for me so that it pushes the correct stuff. So basically after this, I'm going to go change the key to this, to my private key, the one that I haven't shared on a stream that gives everybody access to the repository. I'll go and update this to that key, and that will basically secure this. So we moved that file in there. Now we're ready to go back to Klipper, or mainsail, I guess. In here, we're going to go to our machine. We're going to go to macros, and we're going to add this. It's already there. So we're going to add this little snippet here, and I'll tell you what's going on here. G-code shell command is the new shell command module that we put in our extras folder. We're going to call this command get backup to GitHub. And the command we want to run is sh shell, and then the path to our script, /home/pi/backup.sh. This is basically we're running a little program, basically. We're going to give it 30 seconds. I think that's 30 seconds. I should look at see if that's 30 seconds. We're going to give it 30 somethings. If it doesn't take, it takes longer than 30 somethings, it'll get cut off and stopped. Otherwise, everything will go as planned. And the feedback we're going to get to the console will be verbose. It'll basically, anything that it would drop on the command line as it run, it's going to tell us what it's doing. So that's basically defining the command. It doesn't run the command. So there's another step to this. We need to actually set up a macro in order to run that. And it's pretty straightforward. We just do a normal G-code macro, give it a name, and it says G-code, run shell command, and then the name of the command that we've set up here. CMD equals that. So basically now it's going to take it's going to run this shell command when we click that button, or run this on the console. So if I save and restart now, I believe everything should work. Actually, I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to do a reboot because there's a new Pi file in there. And I think that might require a reboot. I'm no expert. I'm just making this stuff up as I go, just like the rest of us, mostly. So yeah. That's basically the whole thing. There's not a lot of steps. It's pretty straightforward process to follow. The files are out there. You know, there's 2 GitHub repositories. One will get you the command shell. The other one will get you the backup command. Now I'll tell you right off the bat, that backup command, that's like way too verbose in reality. You don't need any of that stuff. Like basically all you need in here is git pull. I wish it would stop. Git pull -v, git add .-v, git commit, some type of description, and git push and the URL. Actually, to tell you the truth, I don't even think you need the URL. So, you know, none of this other stuff is required here. This is just extras that would happen to be in the the version of the script that I grabbed online. What's different here are these two lines here. Well, no, what's different here is this line here. I've customized this. In the version online, it's got the username and stuff. You don't need that. We've already gone through the steps to add that to the Git configuration locally. That's not required anymore. So it makes it a little easier there. So now we're back into our printer. We've got to get back up. Oh, wrong printer. Okay. Just give me a second. I should have known that there was no ERCF files in there. Okay, reboot. We'll reboot the other printer. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of. Well, there wasn't any videos on this. I couldn't find any. But you know, I couldn't find any videos on Clicky either. Well, I could find them on Clicky, but not Clicky for SwitchWire. I did see somebody mention it in their video, but I never saw a live stream for it. Now, there we go. Okay, we're back in here. And what I want to do is I'm going to add a new macro set. We'll give it okay, if the printer's on standby, show it. If the printer's paused, hide if it's printing. And we want to add GitHub backup. And for some reason it's down here. Why it's not up here, I have no idea. Let's Control F5 and see if it fixes that. No. Really? Oh. Well, that's kind of cool, actually. I did not know that. Oh. When you're in expert mode, it's broken up. Awesome. I really need to clean up that okay. There we go. So I've got the GitHub backup button here. We definitely have changes. We went and added the GitHub backup button for one. So I'm going to click that, and basically, could not read username. It will error out and give me a problem. Okay, what I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Why doesn't this work? Already up to date. That's the right printer. Yeah, add macro config. Could not read username. Okay, back to PowerShell. Really? It's disconnected me. And I didn't even notice. Okay, wow. So yeah, we have the username and the origin. Oh well. I'm just gonna add it then. Which I shouldn't need it. Because I have the token. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, I shouldn't need it. But everything else looks fine. I'm wondering why I'm saving my password or my username if I so we'll push this file, overwrite that, and we will try our servo test angle 90, our GitHub backup again. Could not read password. Where did it go wrong? Like I literally wrote these instructions and ran them on 3 printers before I got to this one to make sure that everything went right. But whatever. Let's try this. I think I know what's going on here. No, it does say maker source. Origin already exists. Well, that went south fast. No, but this truly are the steps. These are the files that I have in my other machines. I don't understand why it doesn't like. What's going on here? Well, I can see why. What is this? What is this? Okay, I think I might know something happened. Because that's not the right path. Why is it telling me how to use it? Did I not use it properly? Oh. Nope, didn't like that either. Really? It's a space. There's a space in it. Okay, origin, remote origin already exists. Okay, so we're just going to do the git remote remove origin, and then we're going to add it back. Could not read password. What the hell? What is the problem? Doesn't make any sense. Because it would be absolutely, completely, totally, utterly insane for me to have to do this. Because I didn't have to do it on any other printer. But basically, as far as I can tell, what it wants me to do is that. Which is crazy. That basically means that the password is now in the script. And the password doesn't go in the script. There's no password in the script. But if I copy this to the switchwire orange, overwrite the one that's there, well, now it definitely has a password, right? And it worked. Yeah, so I'm not sure. But we're not done yet. We're not done because I have another printer to do this on. But I am concerned with having that password there. That's the whole reason for that whole creating the origin with the key in it. In order to back this up. Push a minute ago, and that was it 1 minute ago? Where's 1 minute? Macros. Yeah, here's the addition of the code. Okay, so that's in there. So now if I go in and I go to machine and I go to printer, I'm gonna say this one's probably pretty clean. I'll have to re-enable that hardware soon. Here, yeah, we'll just pop that comment out of there. Save and close. Go to the console and back it up. One file changed, 2 lines deleted, and it's finished. And we're back in here. With all the stuff here. Okay, so now we can go into here and we can go in. Where's the backup files? Where are these? Is there an option to hide them now? Okay, whatever. Maybe I'm not seeing them. Yeah, so that's the basics of it. What I'd like to do is set up the regular switch wire as well. Because considering how smooth everything went in my testing of this, that bump at the last step of, you know, username and password, I don't understand. I don't get why that's happening. But let's figure it out. I'll be back in a second. I'm gonna go restart turn on the switch wire. Okay, so while that fires up, I'm going to edit this. And we're going to change from switchwire orange to switchwire red. I guess I could use the serial number. So the first one we ran was the switchwire 2.4. Yeah, I don't know. And it worked just fine. Okay, so let's create, while we're waiting for that to boot up, we'll go back here to here, we'll go to repositories, create a new one, Klipper backup, switchwire red. Configuration of the switchwire red. Create. So that's what I need. Gotta go get my script. Where's my script? And we need to paste this address in there. Okay. We're going to connect to switchwire red. We're in. Again, we're going to do the standard Control C and right click and copy are two different things. That just bugs me so much. It shouldn't be. They should be exactly the same thing. But when I go over here, highlight what I need and press Control C, it doesn't work every time. It only works some of the times. When I do a right click and copy, it works every single time. Okay, so there's nothing to upgrade. We're going to change the Klipper config. Next step is git init. We initialized an empty repository. We're going to add our username. Control C. We're going to add our password, or sorry, our username. And then we're going to add the origin, which is basically the same thing as before, except it has the new path. So it's the same origin, maker source. It has the same key and everything else. And it's going to complain. Why is it complaining? Because there's a stupid space. Why is there stupid space? I don't know. There's no space in the document it comes from. Those are right next to each other. Origin added. And now we're going to do a git add, and that will add everything here to that origin. And then finally, we're going to do the commit, and that'll commit those files, and we'll push it. Pushed, and there we go. We have our files pushed to the. Now that took like what? 2 minutes? 3 minutes to set that up? So once you get going, it's pretty easy. Now what we need to do is here it is. I need to go to the Klipper folder, Clippy, extras. And I need to add the so I need to connect to the right printer. I thought I was, but it turns out I wasn't. Extras. There's the G code. Okay, back up, back up, back up. And there's the script. Switchwire red with the temporary key. Now the temporary key can be a permanent key. I'm going to go in and I'm going to go through all these printers and reset everything and change the keys because of course, you know. But that should be that. Now I'm going to go copy the G code commands. I don't like having the token in the script. It's not like we're backing up the script though, so I guess that's fine. If you back up the script, GitHub will find the token in it and immediately delete the token, and you'll lose all access. Basically, if you upload a token in code to give people access to your script, yeah, it'll just disable the token automatically, which is pretty good, you know. It'd be pretty crappy if, you know, all your tokens were out there. Why web page wrong? Why? Okay. So here we go. Last part is to go to the printer. Not sure where the printer went. Where's the printer? Oh, I don't have the printer up. So we're going to machine macros, and I'm going to take that macro that we have here. No. There we go. There's the command shell and the macro. GitHub backup. Save and close. I'm gonna do a reboot on the host because I'm not 100% sure how the PI files all compile in. So I might as well do a reboot. That way the PI file gets compiled no matter what. Yeah, and I'm not sure why I've had to reapply that token. I went through and hadn't made sure that that wasn't a thing. But even if it is a thing, like I said, as long as your printers are private, it's not a problem. Okay, here we go. We'll go back to our dashboard. We'll just add it to printer in this one. Oh, printers. I mean macros. And GitHub backup. One file changed. Pushing, backup finished. So now if I go to GitHub, switchwire red, here's all my files. I can probably go into here and delete the backup files. There we go, nice and clean. Go to console, GitHub backup, or press the button. It's found the removes, it's found the deletes. It knows what to do. It's backed it all up. When I go back to the repository and reload, all those files are gone. Though they're not gone. They're just in the last version, the last commit. So there, that's basically it. It makes it pretty easy. Now, there were things that were outside of the scope of this standard backup that I wanted to sort of go through. And I think if basically what it is this. We set up files and folders. Sorry, I'm sitting on my legs here. I shouldn't be doing that. We set up files and folders in order to have the extras, for instance. There's stuff that we dump in there. This script in order to upload the files or run the shell command. So I have big concerns about backing up that folder. Let's look at that folder and see why I don't want to back it up. So let's let's just go to orange. So when I go in here, basically this is our working folder. This is what we've decided is important and what we need to back up. If I go up a layer and then into Klipper, into Clippy, into extras, then I'm going to find a small number of files that I could back up. Now there's some weird stuff going on here. I'm going to tell you that. And that's one of those other reasons I'm concerned about backing up this folder. What I put in here was an ercf.py file and a gcode shell command.py file. So they're Python files. They get compiled on the fly. Where's the ercf Python file? I only have the compiled version here. Is it here? Yeah, it is. Okay. But there is so much other stuff in here. If we wanted to back this up, how do we decide what's important and what's not? And I think really the only way to do this is probably doing a copy. Like in the backup.sh file, before you start, run a copy command to copy the files that you have in the extras folder. Copy the py files to the config folder. Or even better, create a py file, an extras folder underneath the config folder and copy them to there. And that will automatically get pushed up. Of course, that means that every time you run the script, it'll get pushed up. Which, really, who cares? So that's it. There's two links involved here. There's the link to the command run console command file, py file, or the gcode shell command py file, and there's a link to the backup.sh file. I'm probably going to provide the backup.sh file link, but I think I'll also put a little bit of information so that it's known that you don't need all that. That basically the only thing you need in this whole thing, you can get rid of all of this. You can get rid of all of this. Yeah, basically that's all you need. That would do everything we need. So again, I'll leave an indication of that. So not really a long stream today. I guess there's probably other stuff we can do, but it would completely be out of scope of what we're trying to cover here. It's a big deal, this, I find. I've been worried about the longevity of the SD cards and the Raspberry Pis since I built my first, the Octopus. Not Octopus, Octopi, which happened to be hooked up to an Octopus board, but whatever. Since I did that first install of Octopi, I've been like, oh, great. Now we're dealing with Raspberry Pis. But I've had really good luck, and I've never lost an SD card in a Raspberry Pi. I've lost probably about 6 SD cards in printers. Yeah. Them printers and them SD, they don't like them. They don't like them at all. So it is what it is. I do notice here that, Robbie had a question about fluid. It does have a path to the fluid folder here. It does have a fluid version check. So my guess is all this would work for fluid as well. So now I need to go delete this key and make sure that my world is safe, because right now the rest of the world has access to it. So that's one thing that's very important when it comes to this, is that information, those personal access tokens, should not be shared. And I'm just going to delete this. It's gone. I'm good. Now, of course, if I go and do a check-in, it won't work, but at least nobody else can do check-ins against my config. So yeah, the other thing, of course, that I want to make clear is these configs are not for sharing in the direct sense. This isn't me giving everybody ability to go and use my config files. Go and use them if you want, but you're using them at your own risk. These are customized for the hardware they're in. Like, this printer has a Klipper expander that your printer doesn't have. Even if it's identical in every other way, there's other differences. You use T1 for the bed and T2 for the heater. I use T1 for the heater and T2 for the bed. Oh, the parts fan is on T2 instead of T0. These are the things that are going to really mess you up when you don't have cooling, not parts cooling fan, but a hot end cooling fan, and you melt your due to heat creep, you melt your hot end right out of the holder. This is what you're going to get from copying config files. I really suggest that every time, at this point, being 5 printers in, that you go to the Big Tree Tech site, or you go to a printer, like, for instance, I know my red, I know my orange, and I took the files from red and put them on orange, mainly because half the hardware was going with it. The Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder and everything was going with it. So that's the reason I did it there. So it's great to share these files for ideas and ways to do things, but it's not always good to stick them in your printer and see what they do, because it won't do good things sometimes. So that's just sort of like a basic warning. The idea is great, sharing is great, but careful with other people's config files. I've never got other people's config files working. I've always found it best to just roll back to the beginning, go to BTT's GitHub site, pull down their basic config file, and move forward from there. That way you go through it systematically. but whatever. That's sort of the basics of it. I still don't know why I don't have the ability to check in code or config changes when I provided the key in the previous step. But we'll see. We will see. I'm happy with the way it is right now. I don't care if I need to have that key in or the token in the backup file. I don't like having a backup file that's different on every one, but I do see that there's a way you can just store the token in a file and it'll read it from it and use it. Kind of like, I don't know if I want to do that. But yeah, we're gonna leave this here. Short stream today. Hour 35 minutes, but we're covering a small topic. So, you know, it would have been shorter if things didn't go wrong. Yay, things going wrong. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next stream. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. And